All right. So can you guys see everything okay? I assume yes, but just in case, it doesn't hurt to ask. Doug, can you see okay on your side?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks
perfect.
great, Steve. Thank you.
Okay. And like I said, we will be recording. So yeah, if you guys we'll send this out to you afterwards and you can rewatch anything that we do cover. All right. So to start things off here, I like to point out, and currently we have one of our new orders in the new order process opened up here on our screen. But for me, one of the big pieces of this update is we'll now have quotes separate from your job orders in the system. They'll exist as completely separate records. So when you click the new job button up at the top, you'll have the option to create a new estimate or a new job. I'll explain what this with options really means here as we go as well. Underneath your home menu, you'll find that you have a separate quotes list as well as a jobs list. So they work really well in unison, but you'll no longer have that initial state of starting off as a quote or estimate and then having to convert it or progress it through. You will still have a conversion process in relation to quotes or estimates, but ultimately, when it starts as a quote, it'll remain as a quote. You'll be able to reference it back on the quote list, and it'll be identified as a converted quote at that point. Okay, so take you through there, and I will absolutely explain and shed more light on this further as we go. So what I will do is kind of point out here for you guys that first off, again, a lot of this update is really centered around the order process itself. There'll be typical functions that you're already accustomed to in the system, like creating your customers, as well as the reports, which really aren't going to change significantly in this update. It'll be everything surrounding the orders themselves. So consistent with the current process, when you click the new job button, we can select new estimate or new job. I will start off with the estimate in this scenario. Now, again, consistent with the current process, we need to have a customer or lead in the database to attach to this estimate. And that reminds me of another big new functionality here in this update is you can now attach leads to quotes or estimates in your system. So you'll see you've got both options. We can attach a customer or attach a lead. So I feel that really overall, I'm excited about this. The lead feature is better served here in the new order process. And so will these quotes. And ultimately that separation between quotes and orders will give you better reporting broadly. You'll be able to have just better pictures into that data. Okay, so we do at the very least need a customer or lead. In this case, I'll tie in one of my customer profiles that I've been working with. We'll go with Fred. And I do want to show you guys or explain some of these additional options in here. Okay, so we've got estimate name. You can now name any of your estimates or job orders in the system. I know that's really valuable, say, especially when we're talking about rentals and in those scenarios, right? Well, you might identify that estimate as the Flintstone wedding or what have you, right? So, or the big, job across the, town and at the mansion, whatever it is. So I will name this, we'll call this big mansion spring cleaning. Oops. And you will see me make some typos along the way, just like normal. Within the estimates, and I'll show you guys this further once we get into one, we can also name the proposals that are attached to them. So with the quotes or estimates, we can create multi-proposal options embedded within. So very commonly, you might have customers that reach out and want you to provide them a few different pricing options. And so these multi-proposals allow you to do that. and not lose any of that initial information that you created along the way. So I'll call this one, we'll call it option A. Sound good? And then templates. So again, I will come back to this and show you guys the value of these templates. I think they'll help you out quite a bit in allowing you to ultimately recreate orders that you create on a regular basis. If you're constantly creating orders that have the same, basic line items present, and you're finding you're always having to readjust the prices or add in the same notes manually time and again, this will really speed things up. And they can even be created to center around things like promotions that you might run seasonally or whatnot, right? So anyways, I won't use a template in this scenario. We're just going to create that new quote. Okay, clicking the create button. And let me start by exploring a little bit of the layout here for you guys. I think overall you're going to find that the layout is a lot easier to navigate. And I think visually speaking too, I think you'll find everything that you would typically want to set in relation to a quote or job order will be right there at your fingertips. All right, so I may say this a number of times here, but one of the big things, or one of my favorite things about this new order process, is that everything relating to the quote or job order is laid out on a single page. I think that's just really valuable. I know we're accustomed to going through these tabs and waiting for the system to kind of refresh or load up the next tab. But with this single page layout, literally everything that we could add in here details wise is right at our fingertips. And it's just a matter of scrolling up and down the page. You guys will notice that as I do scroll down, we've got this header up at the top. And these headers ultimately do point to and reflect the key areas within the order that we can build out information. Okay, so if I'd like to, add in some products and services, I can click that and it'll just direct me to that space on the page. So I can just start adding in my line items, for instance. Okay, so that's a really important detail, especially if we're looking at possibly the mobile side of things. Sorry, I'm just going to clear this in the background. Just wanted to show you guys when we adapt that screen, okay, just like normal, you're going to see the system adapt to that size of the screen. So if you're out in the field, if you're on a mobile device, even these headers that exist will display and adapt to that screen, and they'll always stay in the same order. So you see there, the first piece of information up in the header is the name of the estimate. Then we have the status and so on. Okay, I'll just go back to full view here. Okay, on the left-hand side, we've got all of our customer information, and you guys may, appreciate that we did some big updates in the system relating to our CRM about 1.5 years ago or so, maybe a little longer now, but updating these customer and lead profiles in the system. Well, further reinforcing the importance of this update, our order process is such a huge part of the system. Again, about 40% of the code. The value in this really brings that code up to this new language standard that we're using throughout the system, including that we have been using with these customer profiles, that we have been incorporating into a number of these new reports that you've been seeing enhanced into the system. And overall, it creates a much better, I guess, unison between all of these different modules. Okay, so they're all working on the same code now. And that's really beneficial in relating to the customer or lead information that we have attached to this estimate or quote. It means that we can ultimately access all of that information in the new format, but we can also edit and update any of this information right here on the page. Okay, so all of the intel, all the basic profile info, their addresses, their contacts, you can do it right here on the page and not have to leave that estimate or job order that you're working on. Okay, so really nice. We can collapse all these menus if needed and expand them as we go. I wanted to show you guys just quickly, while I am on the topic here of the profile info, we can tuck that away at any time. If we are working on a smaller screen and we need to gain back some of that horizontal space. Okay. You know what, I'll try and point this out too, because I find it is lesser known. It was a handy little update we did a while back where if you ever need to, you need to gain back some of that vertical space on your page. Go into your user profile up here in the top right and hit toggle banner. And it just tucks that banner away. You still have your main logo branding up there in the top left, but that too can really help with navigation. Okay, I'm going to leave it open because I kind of like that there right now, but kind of going through this a little bit further. Okay, beneath this main header section, of course, we have our new estimate number that we generated. We can see that it's an estimate. Like normal, that will use your default system language for how you have that termed. But beneath that, we've got really some key functions up here in the header, as well as referenceable information. So we could rename the estimate anytime. We can retire the estimate if the client ever decided to pass and move on, maybe kind of letting us know that they're not interested at this time. When you do that, you'll get the same kind of retiring options that you're accustomed to as far as reasons why they didn't move forward. We have our proposal section where we can ultimately win any of these attached proposals. I'll go through this again after we put together kind of the standard elements of this particular order or estimate. You can see the value, billing address we can set based on any of the addresses we have tied in with that client. We can assign an owner. And just as a heads up here, whoever creates the order in the system will automatically, as a user, be assigned as the estimate or job owner in that case. But you could always toggle it. If you wanted to, use that as some different kind of designation as far as who's responsible for that estimate, then feel free to change it as needed. One thing I love about this update is we have the ability now to link the interactions into any of our quotes or job orders. To me, this is huge. Similar to the leads, interactions now are better served. They better serve you. They allow you not just to create that interaction on behalf of a customer or lead, but we're relating it to any specific estimate or job order. So it just adds a lot better context for that interaction. Ultimately, you could have a dozen estimates out there for Fred Flintstone. So I think typically now you're having to add maybe a little bit of the details in the notes you might create with that interaction. Oh, we're going to call back Fred regarding this estimate or that estimate, whereas now you'll have a better and direct association. And that too will show up in your interactions report, as well as the interaction history in the profile page. We can add pipelines to the order here as needed. We can also tie in any of the client's associated property profiles. So if you guys use the property profiles, I think they're really handy as far as a custom form for really anything relating to the client. So it adds a lot of flexibility, but we can attach those to the order as needed. I can check it right here underneath his profile information on the left, or set it right up here in the header. And then last but not least, we've got that good referenceable information, which I think is valuable, whether we want to just check on when was the last edit made to this order, or when was it created in the system overall. Okay, now getting to the meat and potatoes of putting this together, I think ultimately when we generate a new estimate or job order in the system, naturally one of the staple and most important things we could add to it would be products or services. So that is the first section that we see here. Up at the top, we're going to hit add line item, and it's really simple to add in any line items to your estimates or job orders. So I'll just go ahead and add a few in here. I'll say, and I kind of labeled this as the big mansion spring cleaning. So I'll go with a variety of things here. I'll add in some grass cutting. Maybe we're going to clean your windows, and maybe we'll do a bit of car cleaning with a bronze package as well. Okay, so one thing I probably should have pointed out earlier, but I will point out now quickly. We are making some really good progress on this update being available for all of our users. However, what you'll see in the presentation today, we won't have the ability to show you the rental products specifically. I'm going to add in some retail-based products as a bit of an example here, because they will function very similarly. Okay, so I'll put a retail item in there. Of course, many folks do use the retail type products quite a bit, and they will function, like I said, very similar for any of our rental-based clients. With rental products, of course, they have a little more complexity overall, and we're just wrapping up our development on those, so they will be available and live here soon. And once they are, we'll be ultimately knocking on your door, kind of helping guide you into these updates. With these updates, we also have our Quickbooks integration, which is just also wrapping up. So for any of our clients that do have QuickBooks integrated with their systems, that will be one piece that, again, we'll be just finalizing in order to make it a full transition for you here into the new order process. All right, so we've got our line items added in. I want to show you guys, ultimately, once we have a line item in there, we can click on it and make edits. Now, I am on our development server here, as you can see up in the URL. So we may have a couple tiny quirks at this point, but overall, we've already been releasing this to some of our systems, mainly the service-based businesses with a little bit more simplicity, and of course, that aren't connected to QuickBooks. However, one thing that I think we intend to do here is remove this override. So ultimately right now I have to click that checkbox in order to override the price. We'd like you to basically get at that price and edit it freely right away. Maybe have this in on a permission flag for certain lower level users. Okay, so I can adjust my price. I can adjust my quantities. I can also get at my discounts here really easy. So I can apply a percentage or flat dollar discount. If I want to tie that in, I can just type in, say, the percentage in this case. And then the line item notes. And I think this is something that everybody really uses quite a bit. Ultimately, I feel like it builds value in the products or services that you're offering the client. I think it helps build trust, as well as helps build value in the prices that you're suggesting to the client. So I'll say, I don't know, complete mow and trim. And there's all those spelling errors that I told you I would be adding in there just for nice effect. I like to point out too for you guys, I have a Grammarly plugin tied into my browser. This is not a function of New Order Process or bPro. So if you see that on there and you're wondering what that is, bPro will not correct your grammar for you. But if you download the plugin and install it into Chrome, it is pretty handy. I could power it off here right now, but it's actually helping me quite a bit. Yeah, I don't know. And nice lines in the grass, whatever it is. Now, one of the nice updates to this is when you're adding in a note in relation to any of your line items, if you happen to click off that pop-up, don't worry, you're not going to lose the note. You're going to get prompted with this additional pop-up that's going to remind us to save the changes. Right now, if you are in the middle of writing in a note and you happen to click on something else like the price field and you hadn't clicked that add button yet, you will lose the note. So this is a big improvement, and I know a lot of people, again, spend time typing in notes related to their line items. There we go. So we've got our note in there. We've got our price and quantity set. Also, when we're adding in a line item, initially, you can either hit the plus sign to add it right away, like I had done in these other 4 examples, or you can just hit the dots right away and ultimately get at this. I call it the line item configurator, where we can basically configure all the details related to that line item immediately upon adding it. Okay, so this is really doing the functionality of our cart and checkout menus all in one step. Okay, so yeah, I'll just leave this as is. I'll add that one in too. Why not? All right. We can also adjust quantities right here on the page, and that can be quite handy. I believe we'd like to add in the same kind of functionality here with the price as well. If we ever need to trash a line item, removing it from an order, we can just hit the trash can. And I think what a lot of our users will like, especially when they build lengthy orders, and I mean orders that have a number of line items present, you can rearrange those line items really easy. So it's very important in how we present it to the customer. And ideally, we don't want to have to remove it or remove a bunch of line items in order to add them back in the proper order. This is super simple, and we hope will save you a lot of time. And I feel this will especially help, of course, our rental customers who have provided us this valuable feedback. When we're in the products and services section, not only do we have the add line item easy option there, quick and easy, we can also jump into an expanded view, which is a little bit more detailed. It's larger. So for anybody who is struggling visually to see those line items on the other option, this too can really help out and make it easy to add in anything to our order. So we can see that build out on the right-hand side. And again, if we hit the gears, we can get to that configuration window. Okay, I'm just going to add all sorts of stuff to this. Okay, so this is a nice looking order so far. Okay, we can filter our line items. This section also has it broken out by the different product types. So if we wanted to see just the service stuff, just the retailer rentals, this is how we'd be able to sort those out. Okay, so going back here now, I'm just going to hit done, and that's going to flip me right back to the order. And I hope you guys are seeing or even appreciating just how quick and responsive all of this is. I love that. I love that it's just everything is very quick and seamless as we go. Okay, now while we're working in this products and services section, we'll look down here in the lower right side of it. We could see our subtotal. We could see any taxes if they're added on there, and we could select any different rates by clicking on tax, and then our total. Now, I want to point out this add modifiers. This is a handy little section as well. This is really the new use of your bulk discount. Again, when you have a lot of line items present and you're just trying to apply a simple, percentage or dollar discount to that entire order, this is how you do it. Click add modifiers. You can name that discount or surcharge if you like. It could be, I don't know, spring promo, 10% off. Clients always like to see their discounts when promised, right? And then again, we could choose whether it's a discount or a surcharge. We can add a description in there too if needed. I'll just paste that in the same place. Choose percentage in this case, and I'll set it to 10. Okay, I'm going to save that. There we go. We can see that 10% discount applying against the subtotal right away. And I can remove it with just a click. Make edits to it as well. Quite easy. Now, we can also click add modifiers just to lay this out for you guys, because I think it's a neat option. Surcharges. And you might use that to inflate, well, you will use it to inflate the price, but you might find it helpful for tacking on things like credit card fees, with convenience processing fees, that kind of thing, trip charges, fuel surcharges, anything like that. Maybe a disposal fee, a supplies fee, stuff like that. So the surcharge is a new and really neat little addition there. Okay, so moving down, next up we've got our appointment section, and as you guys see, like you could build this out any way you like, just like normal, where you can jump through the tabs any way you like. So if we wanted to start with the appointment in the calendar, we really could. Now, I know this is still an estimate, but I want to show you the functionality while I'm here, and ultimately you can add events in the calendar relating to your quotes or estimates, right? So maybe you have to do a little bit of an on-site assessment. Totally fine. In this appointment section, we can click view calendar. That'll flip us over to the full calendar view. Another big important benefit of bringing all of this code up to the same language is we now have the ability to plug in that new calendar that typically has existed under your home menu. Right, so it's right here now in the order process, and you gain all the great functionality of this new calendar. We can jump dates really easy using our date picker. You see I just hit the 3 lines to expand or collapse the overall date picker, as well as the filters. And just like your home calendar, you can set your preferred calendar settings. So if you like your calendar to open up in the month view, the 4-day view, you can switch it and set it to your preference. Okay, and even hiding or rearranging that information that shows up on the surface of the events. I know a lot of people like seeing zip code first and foremost, so they get a sense of, hey, where is this appointment geographically? All right, so beyond that, print view in place, right? So if we're going to print out, say, all the the work orders or packing slips maybe for that particular day, we can. It'll print out literally whatever's in view. So if I'm looking at a full week, we're printing out all those opportunities. They'll list out in chronological order, and we can print away. We can toggle that view further here, and we can also add appointments to the calendar by using the plus sign. Toggle between the weeks just with these left and right arrows. Okay, so let's say I want to put something on the calendar relating to this for tomorrow afternoon. All I need to do, click, hold my mouse, drag down into the block of time that I'd like to place that appointment. You can see I can visualize it's from 3:15 to 5. Let go, and then we'll be prompted with basically a what do you want to do, right? So we could create a personal event in there, but very specifically, we want to create a new appointment for proposal 607082. Having that estimate or order number tied in to this is an awesome reference. And the difference, I think, just helps. Well, sorry, I should say, I think it just helps us direct us to the relevance there, right? So when we're looking at it, ultimately, you can have multiple tabs open in your browser, which I think is pretty normal for a lot of folks. So, when I'm on this calendar view, I could easily forget what estimate I was building out. So that can help us maintain some context there. Now, like the orders themselves, we can name our events. I'll call it on-site assessment, whatever it is. Maybe we're meeting with the clients to, just assess their overall needs. For any of you folks that are in like more of a retail or rental world, you will be able to choose your rental pickup and drop off options here. Okay, this system is currently set as default to service. So for any of our service-based clients, that will automatically be preset for you. You won't have to choose the appointment type every time. If you're a brick and mortar business though, like in my example of my past life I had an auto detailing shop, I wouldn't just set it as service. I would say customer drop off at location, right? That would be ultimately to dictate that they'd be bringing their vehicle to me. Or in some cases, I'd go pick it up. But yes, you'll have your rental pickup and drop off options there, as well as retail, if that's activated in your system. We've got the start date and times all filled out based on what we dragged into. So I can adjust those further if I need to, but moving on, here I can assign my truck or resource. Again, this is where we can pick and choose certain locations or trucks. I'll set this to the Toyota Corolla, and we'll assign some staff in here too. Doug, you're going to be doing this one. And maybe we'll throw in Deep as well. Any appointment notes are always valuable. Let's say assess the client's needs to build out quote. Perfect. Save that. Now, once we add that in there, that adds it to the calendar. We can see the icon indicating it's a quote. The little wrench here is a new icon. It just indicates that's a service-based appointment. Okay, you guys are going to be looking at this kind of wondering, well, why is that one sort of ghosted out there in the background? And that's a slight change in the calendar functionality, right? Typically when we're working on an order, we just see lit up the event related to it. But in this case, and we may also kind of go back towards that a little bit still here in the future. However, right now we've got it set so that quote appointments are grayed out overall and official job appointments are lit up. Okay, and again, we have a lot of different filters and easy ways to help you look at that information, including drilling into the day view. Okay, so now I'm going to go back. I'm going to hit the back button. That's going to flip me back to my order. That appointment and its details are right there, right there in front of us. We can edit that information at any time. Let's see here. I meant to add or wanted to add an appointment color. Perfect. Purple may mean on-site assessment to me visually. I can also create multiple appointments. And in fact, I don't need to go to that calendar view to create an event relating to this estimate. I can just click create if I know where I'd like to place it or who I'd like to assign it to. I can just do it that much more efficiently. All right, next up is interactions. I'll leave that be for now. But yeah, like, you send out an estimate, typical, you can't always bank on the client following back up with you, even if they say they will. So I think it's really valuable to be able to go in. I will go ahead and set one now. Set an interaction in relation to this. Maybe I'm going to plan to call back Fred. I'm going to email this quote out today. I'm going to call him back Monday if we don't hear from him, if he doesn't come and reach back out to us. Adding in notes if you want. Okay. Even assigning it to any of your staff if you like. My pal Ben is going to make this call back. Perfect. And we can always cancel or complete this interaction. So if I open up this quote on Monday, I call Fred, he picks up, we convert the quote. I'd likely want to go and complete that interaction, just tracking in the system that it was performed, even if he didn't pick up. Maybe I plan another interaction or edit this interaction, moving it forward in the calendar from there. Next up, let's check out the invoice section. So as always valuable, we want to get a preview of this estimate before we send it off, or if it's a job order or confirmed work, maybe we want to send off an order confirmation. You will find you get little error validation messages that are easier to see now in the new order process. They're red, which is great, not just black in the top right corner, and they help direct us when we're maybe missing a step or required to pick a piece of information here. Now, in this case, I don't think I have one of my templates set as default. So ultimately, we can have your default load up so you're not having to go pick this each time. Yeah, let's preview this as, say, the invoice template, even though, yeah, I know it's a quote. So just like normal, yeah, we get that nice preview. And again, we can flip back to the order just by hitting the back button. I can toggle the templates right here, no problem. I can download it, email it off to the client, which I will go through, or print it off if we need a paper copy. Everything will be broken out, retail, service, and rentals, just like normal, if you have multiple product types present on the order. In this case, I tied in my property profile and also have it linked on my invoice template. So that's displaying. It'll show us any of the details we included and images that we included. Let's go to the email function though. It'll intend to email the preview that we were just looking at. And sorry, by that I mean the invoice template that we were just previewing. Even there though, we can toggle that to any of the templates present in our system at the time of emailing. What I like about this is, again, bringing up to date this code and consistency throughout. We now have the ability to have a better served email function here in the order process. So this is going to be a lot more in tune with what you guys have seen in using the email function from the customer or lead profiles, right? So easier to populate. We can send this to as many recipients as we need. So maybe I'll send it to myself. Okay, no problem there. And I can CC as many people as I need. I love that because we've been kind of stuck in the constraint of only one additional email up to now. I can also pick my email template here, which is not a problem. I'll just pick, say, invoice copy. I can make any adjustments to the subject line or the body of the email as needed. And again, for anybody that isn't familiar with these, I like to just point out when you're looking at the body of an email and you see some of these funny bits and brackets, those are smart tags and they will auto-populate that information upon sending. Okay, what's great about this new email tool is that we have embedded formatting right here on the page as well, so we can make it look a little nicer or add in anything to our liking. Under the dots, you'll see there's even more additional formatting tools, including the ability to hyperlink, add your images, even more smart tags that you can add in there too, and font selections. Okay, so that's always a nice to have in there. At the bottom, we've got our attach option. So if you need to attach any additional files to go along with it, you can. And again, the PDF template is automatically attached here in this case. So I'll just hit send email. We'll get a little, oh, that's kind of hanging up on my screen there, but there we go. We'll get a little confirmation that that email was sent out. And I'm all set. So I'm going to go right back here to the order itself. We went through that invoice section, sent off an email. And last here on the page, we've got our internal notes related to the order. So much like your job notes, however, these are really intended to be fully internal, right? We found like we've got a lot of different note display options on the templates. But if you needed to put in any little details surrounding this, it might be something to help guide one of your staff out in the field. You can use the internal notes, and similarly, you've got a lot of different formatting options here and an attach option right there at your fingertips. Okay, so going back up to the top of this page, we've now put together this estimate really well. We've added in details and we did it quite efficiently. But I want to show you guys now the multi-proposal option. I think this is really pretty important. So we can flip through and create, yes, sorry, this is one of the little catches I have here on the development site, but not an issue at all in our live new order process environment. I can basically click new proposal and it'll generate the next proposal, which will be numbered 2. If I don't name my proposals, they follow a sequence typically of 1, 2, 3, and so on. If I go new proposal with options though, we'll go this route. I can name that second proposal. We'll call this option B. Okay. I can even clone option A along the way. So I'm not starting from scratch. It's going to reload all of this information into proposal B. And from there, I can make my edits. So we're going to do that. And so there we go. We are now on option B. I can toggle back to option A at any time. But on option B, let's say we wanted to simplify a little bit. Maybe we're going to remove a few of these services or products. Okay, we could take them right off. And there we go. We've got option B. Maybe option C is the lightest of the options. So we can go ahead in here, option C, and we'll clone option B at this point. We could clone either of them now. We'll create that. And maybe option C, like I said, was just the basics. Okay, so naming those accordingly can help you differentiate between proposals, just like the estimate name, right? We could be looking at an estimate number on the estimate list, and it doesn't really tell us much, a lot like an address, right? But when we name it, it can add a ton of relevance. Okay, now let's just look at winning or losing. Ultimately, when we have the client decide they want to move forward with any of these, we can pick which one to win, and that'll convert it into an official job order. To clarify something that I believe I brought up on our first introduction to the new order process, we will not be having the ability for the clients to win these proposals via their own inbox, not initially anyways. Okay, so that's a pretty sophisticated functionality that we weren't quite able to work in here on the initial release. Okay, but still really easy. We can just win away. Okay, we get a little confirmation box there just so we're not converting things accidentally. And there we go. It creates the new job order in the system, and the job order carries the same quote number, or the same number, sorry, as the quote. It helps tie in association there. I'm going to open up our quote list here, and we're going to take a quick look for 607082. There it is at the top of the list as the most recently accessed quote. Again, there's all sorts of filter options in here and kind of typical features of our new reports, even bulk actions in here. Okay, but what I want to do is just show you guys, if I go back to this original quote, what's great about these proposals is you don't lose any of that information. So even if the client didn't choose to go with option C, we can still reference option C at any time. We're not having to rejig the line items present on the order and then resend it or reprint it or redownload, whatever. We've got all of that historical info at our fingertips. And when an estimate is converted, anytime we open it up, we've got that direct link back to its associated job counterpart. Both will live independently on their respective lists. Sorry. Beyond that, guys, ultimately, when we convert that quote, it does carry over the original appointment onto the job order. But as we just saw on the original estimate, that event is still present on that estimate. And this is simply a cloned copy. And what we can do is simply edit that from here. If we make edits to it, we are not editing the event that lives on the quote. Okay, so at this point, we can just say, I don't know, booked, job, service, whatever it is. We could change the color, change the date and time really easy. Our notes will still be in place, but that might be helpful, or we might need to tweak them a little bit too. We could change our assignment if needed. Many people will create events on their quotes as really planned activity. Like our client says, well, if I'm gonna move forward with this, I'm gonna be interested in March 30th between 3 and 5. Great. At the time that they tell us they'd like to move forward and we convert, that appointment's all ready to go on the new job order, and we may not need to edit a thing, right? So just bearing that in mind, it is a separate event that lives on the job order. Making changes to it won't affect the original quote event. And if we're just going to march forward with that original detail that we had set in place, that's totally fine. Now, at the time of conversion, of course, that will qualify things like quantities relating to retail and rental products, right? And they'll be then officially counted out of stock at the time of that appointment and returning, if we have an inbound appointment related to that too. Again, when we're creating or editing retail or rental based stuff, we can define whether it's going in or out accordingly. All right, so that's it on the job order side. Now it comes to doing the work and accepting payment. Like normal, we'd pull up this order when needed from our order list or from our calendar, and we can then accept payment at any time to resolve the balance owing. Click on accept payment. We can adjust any of those presets or set the amount to whatever we need so we can apply multiple payments. Our payment processing will always be available in the other method dropdown. Don't have Stripe connected in this case, but you guys do get the idea there. Check is pretty standard, so we'll throw in, say, a check number. Okay, and we can also choose whether that's displayed or hidden on the invoice paperwork at the time of logging it here in the system. Okay, I'm going to hit accept payment. We're going to see that balance owing resolve right away. 0, perfect. Ultimately, if I go down here now on the job order, there is a payment section. We can see the history. I can schedule a payment from here. So for many of our clients that use the scheduled payments, that's a really handy option, of course. What I like about this too, every payment that we log against this order will have a refund option next to it. I'm going to do another $100. See, it tells me that I'm overpaying. Little warning, hey, you could do it still, but at least we have a little bit of checking in place. And now I'm just going to refund it. Okay, so now the refund loads up with the same amount of the exact payment that we're refunding. Super easy. Boom, everything's balanced right back out at 0. Last but not least is the completion step, the ever important completion step where we record the value of these items as official revenue. We're going to hit complete. What's great about this update, you can complete individual line items and recognize their associated revenue amounts independently without the entire order being completed in full. That helps for better revenue reporting overall and helps us track what's officially been done or not done. So handier for more of the project management side of things too. Okay, so if we hit the top box, it will select all. We're going to hit save. It's going to complete all of these line items. We're going to see each completed on reference date underneath each associated item. So if I complete the 4-room special here on the 25th, and maybe we go back because of inclement weather and we complete the grass cutting maybe on the 29th, we'll have good reference points to that information, and the revenue will be logged accordingly for each on each respective date. You see there, as soon as I completed the line items, just like normal functionality, that was the last thing remaining, and now the order is automatically closed. And I could do it in either sequence. I could mark them complete first and pay it off after. Ultimately, we need all of the present line items to be completed and payment received in full before we can get to that closed status. If I need to reopen, no problem. Just click on that and select open. Not a problem. So that is it, guys. I want to show you a couple more big things, but that is the quote, proposal, conversion step, job order process, all in one. I want to show you guys a little bit more information here. For those of you that use timelines, we've got the old timeline type information present. We also have a new timeline here at your fingertips. You can click on the dots and then select job history, and you get a much more detailed, better picture. I just like the way it lays out personally, and we could see, steps taken within that order. We can also take any order and turn it into a cart template. So, while you spend the time building out this one order, you might think, wow, I might want to do this exact same kind of order regularly. Royalties, if applicable, if you're, I don't think that really applies to you guys. You should ultimately have that off, but create cart template. And I just want to quickly show that off here for you guys because I think it's very helpful. And apologies, I'm dragging on a little bit here, but I'd like to take some time and address your questions here also. Okay, so going into the home menu, there's a new little submenu here called Cart Template. You go in here, it's super easy. You click the Create Cart Template button and you can start building out one of your templated orders. Here we've done quite a few tests, but I'm going to create a new one for you. We can edit any of the existing templates or remove them if needed. And we've got filtering. If this list gets long, we could search. But let's create a new one. We're going to name it right now. I keep using this example, but we'll call it the spring cleaning promotion, and maybe it's 20% off. Gives us a quick sense of what that's all about. I could do the same thing right in the description. No, maybe you would do this, valid until May 31st. You put the year. Okay, so we're going to hit next step. And that's going to bring us into the template builder. And it's going to look a lot like you're just putting together an order. And again, you're going to find, I think, the benefit in this in really adding efficiency to regular type order creation. And furthermore, I think it's just a fantastic way to create, implement, and oversee things like promotions. It might open the door of opportunity to help you create and manage some promotions within your business. And if you have staff, I think it's a great guideline because we can actually not only name these, but we can set an expiry very specifically. Oh, and this was the other hang up I had there. That's okay. That is not a problem on the live system, just here on development, just as a heads up. But we can pick that date of expiry. So literally, I said May 31st, didn't I? I'm going to jump ahead a couple months and we're going to pick the 31st. There we go. ultimately, if I click new job or new quote, and I attempt to use a template on creation, again, I'm going to do that again here on a different screen. Oh, wait, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I should build this out first, but this template will literally only be available to choose under that option up until May 31st. So after that, the deal is gone. And we can add in whatever line items we want to associate to that. I'm going to throw in a bronze package. Again, I'm going to use this search here this time. I'm going to search up something real quick. Gold package, perfect. So this is my 2-car detailing promo, whatever, get like, just like getting 2 pizzas. We're going to say that comes with a 20% off discount. And I want to remind you guys, we can apply that discount with the modifier across the entire order. Super easy. Okay. Beyond that, we can throw in any notes. We're also templating those notes. Test note 1, 2, 3 includes this and that. Perfect. Add, save. I could have just hit save there actually, but anyways, we can see those notes right at our fingertips. So if there's many notes in there, no problem. You can click that and you're going to get a quick reference to all the notes included with that line item. And even any internal notes I want to tie in there or attachments. So once I'm set, there I go. I've got my cart template made up for the spring cleaning promo. So let's show you guys this in action. I'm just going to hit cancel, make sure I'm just current with that fresh save on that template. We're going to hit new job or estimate with options. It'll be available on both. And I can pick that template. It's right there at the top of my list. Okay, and first again, I need to attach a customer. I'll pick Fred again. Perfect. Could name the job, could set my owner here, all at the onset. Go ahead and create, but the bare minimum you need when creating a job order is the customer. And if it's a quote or estimate based order in the system, you do need bare minimum, again, lead or customer. And again, those leads are far better served now. And look, loads up exactly how I had it set with my bronze package, my prices, my notes, all ready to go. Okay, so I hope you guys like that and find that a useful addition. And again, just even being able to create a cart template off an existing order makes it super easy. All right, so I'm going to pause here now and just check and see if we have any questions that I can go ahead and answer. And again, sorry to drag out the time here on you guys.
Thanks, Steve. We did have one question come in, if you wanted to just quickly address it, just in regards to how flags are currently being used in the current system. And just, we had a question come in and wondering if interactions will be now taking the place of flags, or if it just some direction around that.
Like flagged notes, basically, or?
Yeah, I believe so. I got back and said that interactions will just be, they're more taking the place of follow-ups and actions. So I didn't think it was really going to take the place of the flags. I think the notes would probably be best served for that.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, those internal job notes would be a better indication of your flag note on a per estimate or per job basis. It'll, in fact, yeah, I mean, you could even make the font nice and big and hard to miss. But yeah, I feel like the interactions will be, really well served for, I don't know, any kind of important touch points or tasks relating to that particular quote or job.
For sure.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Marissa just asked, can the sub items be changed?
So is that more in a bundle scenario, Marisa?
Yes, she just said yes.
Oh, okay. Let me see. I might even have a bundle here. Do I? Oh, a bundle scimitar. It sounds fancy, but let's see. So this is how the bundles lay out. That's a really good question, and thank you for reminding me of that, Marisa. When we have a bundle added to an order, I just want to quickly point out, we want to name those accordingly. So we may be tagging in like a default where it says like bundle dash expand. This is simply the name of the bundle, so that caught my eye, fortunately. But I think it would be important to help identify them. Otherwise, you'll see this line next to any bundle, and you'll also see the word expand along with any available quantities here. And when we do expand, we'll see all those sub items and we can swap them out or rearrange them as needed along with their associated quantities. And I can, again, I could add a discount or, note just specific to one of the sub items if needed. And if well, they like this bundle, but they don't really need the air freshener, no problem. We could just take that off there. And when we expand, we didn't really change the bundle as it lives in the database, but we altered it quite easily on this particular order. That's a really good question. And these lines kind of help draw the association back to this one line item. So picture this, if we have, one in between or one under. Oh, it's a little display option here. Again, a little bit of an issue with the dev, but those lines are intended to help, show that link, of course, between the sub items and its parent product. Sorry, you there, Paul? What were you going to say?
Nope, sorry, Steve. Last question that came in was just about, and I think this is likely a good feature request that we can put in, is just if the order of everything, like the products and services, the calendar, the interactions, just in regards to how it's laid out on the page, if those can be customized and change the order. So currently, I don't believe we can, but that could be a good feature request to take back to our team.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to confirm, no, we don't have the ability to rearrange those currently, but that is a good point. I'd almost like to see maybe if we were to pose this back as like an enhancement idea there, Paul, that we could maybe even have the ability to just drag these around maybe in a certain order, or maybe a high level permission could have that capability. We won't want all of our users to be able to do that, right? But adjust it to a user's preference within their own respective business. So that if you want to start with the calendar, for instance, you could maybe, but currently not a functionality. And we do hope that the existing vertical layout, along with the easy access to the hyperlinks here on the header, will help you navigate to whatever section you really do need to get at first and foremost with ease.
Awesome. Thanks, Steve. That was all the questions that have came in the session.
Perfect. Thank you. And I just want to take a moment and thank you guys all for joining us, and add another little detail in for you as far as getting up and running on this. So I have a quick poll to launch for you guys. I'm just going to launch it right now for you. Just kind of helps gauge how you feel about some of these features and updates that are included here with the new order process. You see that come up on your screen. Feel free to pick as many of the options as you see there. It's a multi-select. And there'll also be a little survey at the end just to gauge when you might feel comfortable moving in to the new order process update. With this update, we have the unique ability to be basically migrating our clients over to it on a per system basis. So we'll really be aiming to work with you each directly and ensuring that we plan that actual migration date and time. Hello. Sorry. I'll have to route that to another person there real quick, but sorry, just really strategizing with you guys, when would be an ideal time to move you into the update, because last thing we want to do is disrupt your kind of typical business activities, but we want to give you an opportunity to ultimately anticipate these changes and plan on it, right? Get your teams ready. So overall, I think you'll all find that these updates simplify so much in the system. And from what we've already been seeing with user feedback from people that we've been bringing into it, is that it's far easier to navigate. It's quicker, it's more efficient, and it's way easier for, say, a brand new staff member or user to get up to speed and learn how to put together orders here within the system. So we hope you feel the same, but again, we will be working with you to plan out your overall transition into the new order process. Okay, so there'll be a little survey emailed out to you here afterwards that'll help you kind of plan out that date with us, and we look forward to bringing you live into these updates. Okay, guys. Well, that's it. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to tune into this. And again, we will be sending out the recording to all of our invitees. All right, guys. Thank you, and we'll talk to you again soon. Take care. Have a good day.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks everyone for joining.